Welcome, Amakhosi Network. Welcome to the channel. Velebayi gets announced by Kaizer Chiefs, and today we talk about the starting lineup of Kaizer Chiefs. But before we get into that, please like, comment, and subscribe. Velebayi gets announced by Kaizer Chiefs. He looks good in gold and black. He looks good. You know what? This guy, I'm excited to see him on the field. We haven't seen Velebayi do crazy things like score a lot of goals, have a lot of assists, but we've seen the potential in him. Maybe with a better system, he will be able to showcase his ability a bit more, and I'm hoping that's what Chiefs brings. But I also want to warn fans, Kaizer Chiefs fans, Guti, but you must still remember that Cape Town Spurs is not going to take this loss by the arbitration very lightly. They are still gonna push to try take this as far as possible to ensure Velebayi stays with them. So as much as I feel we must celebrate that the player is ours and the player wants to be with us. There's no doubt there. His family wants to be. He's been wanting to be with us from last season. Chiefs last season offered about 4 million for Velebayi with plus 2 players that they wanted to give Cape Town Spurs. Cape Town Spurs still said no because they wanted 8 million to 10 million for Velebayi, and Chiefs said it's not possible because at the time the best players were getting offered 8 to 10 million. Like you were signing the best of the best for 8 to 10 million. Velebayi at that point, he had only scored 1 goal in the season. So you couldn't, what has he done? And then Cape Town Spurs was like, oh, what he has done is that we developed him. We put a lot of money into his development and stuff like that. And then Kaizer Chiefs' argument on their side is that we all do that, but this is football. In football, you don't put a price tag on what you've put into the player. The price tag of a player is valued based on the quality and the potential of the player, etc., etc. And Velebayi, like for right now, there's no one who can argue good. Right now, if you want to go and buy Relem Fukeng for 10 million, it's impossible. It's impossible for you to go and buy Urelem Fukeng for 10 million. The guy is not worth that amount. But that guy is younger than Velebayi. So how can we say that a guy who's younger than Velebayi probably costs 2 to 3 times the value? Even some people will say 5 times the value of that 8 million. And that's because the player is valued on what he's doing on the field, his potential, not what you invested. Because Chiefs invested in Ditejani and Daga, but to compensate Chiefs for their development, Chiefs only asked for 1.5 from Staleys and 1.5 from TS Galaxy. And that was good enough because you can't quantify all the stock suites you gave this guy. You know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And in this case, Cape Town Spurs lost because Velebayi wasn't even like at the level of Thulani Serrero, who would be, if you were trying to buy Thulani Serrero at that time, you would have to pay 10 million. If you wanted to buy Billiard, you would have to pay about 8 million, etc. So your value is not determined by Guti you are developed, because there are players who have been in development for years, but you wouldn't even pay 1 cent to have that player in your team. But anyway, Velebayi is our player. I hope Luke Batman follows because it's been quiet. There hasn't been really information coming through on what happened with Luke Batman's case. I really hope some news comes out that he's now free to join Kaizer Chiefs because he is the one I'm also very excited for. I think if you've been part of this channel, you all know that I think beginning of last season when we were thinking of players to buy, I said Chiefs must figure out a way of buying Luke Batman and just keep him in our ranks, because Luke Batman, before when Cape Town Spurs was going to go to Mvela, I was like, you need to buy Luke Batman as an investment, because that boy he has striker. He snuffs like a striker. He smells the goal. Like he has a good touch. He has a good mental ability for the ball. But he snuffs goals. Like he puts himself in the right position and he does the right things. So I always felt like if you can invest in Luke Batman, you will get a top quality striker. So I really hope he's on his way, because he's that kind of striker who I wouldn't be surprised if he jumps Duba in the starting in starting for Chiefs. And plus, Luke Batman is actually very young. So Luke Batman this year is only 19. So you can already see the boy is still very, very young. Even when he comes, he'll probably be our youngest player if we don't speak about Unkwesa, because Unkwesa I think is also 19 this year. But yeah, I saw pictures today. Some young players were actually training with Chiefs. Mangoba Ozamena, and also Naftal Mukwena, the goalkeeper. I've been asking around what happened to Takalani, Mazhamba. I don't know what happened to that boy. He's also a top quality keeper. But I think what Chiefs tends to do is that when a player is in his matric year or they're still in high school, Chiefs forces these players to focus on high school and schooling. They don't get taste of first team. I think it's been happening for quite some time now. We saw with Mfundo Vilakazi, didn't get to touch first team football until he was done with matric exams. Dushabalala, we all remember the season. In Jan, he played his first game for Chiefs like in December, but that was after his matric. Same with Mfundo Vilakazi, Hlongwane, all of these players, once they're done with matric, Chiefs brings them in. So I think the same thing is going to happen with Takalani, because Takalani is only 18 this year. So he's still a young keeper. So he, I think as well, they're going to allow him to focus on his schooling, etc. Which is why I've said before, Chiefs needs to find a way to fast track their players. Players who are in the academy need to kind of get into schools where they graduate 1 year earlier. When I say graduate 1 year earlier, I mean like they're writing their matric exams at 17 and then 18 they get to start their careers. I think that's what Chiefs should do. And then when they say 18 start their careers, they can, while they're starting at Chiefs, they can just do like small courses in universities. Like Chiefs can partner up with Mill Park to do courses that help them manage their finances, while so that year of 18, while they're playing professional football, they're also forced to focus on getting them the important qualities they need. And I think that's also managing their money management, etc. But anyway, let's talk about the starting lineup. I'm going to mention a few changes, which is going to be interesting. So, first one, keeper Peterson is going to stay. Center backs, I think, is going to remain the same. Miguel, Aiden McCarthy. Right back will still be Monyani. Left back is the question mark. We've heard that Marco is now healthy, but Cross had a pretty good game against Stelis. So, do you just drop Cross because Marco is now available and Marco is technically the better left back? It's a difficult one. A lot of people will probably say just keep Cross because he had a good game. Others would be like, hey, play your best left back, especially in defense. But others will say when it's not broken, don't fix it. For me, I feel like it's a difficult one. I can't really say which one. Obviously, if you had to choose on a random day and say wake up and pick, I'd pick Paseka Marco. But at the same time, Paseka Marco, as much as he had a hand injury, so he's still able to do fitness. We just don't know his match fitness. So, a player can be available, but you don't know if they are match fit. So maybe Cross will be playing for that reason. But yeah, my pick is still Marco. I'll still pick for Marco to start in my team. But yeah, Cross will probably still start. The midfield is the most important one and the most difficult one because we saw how bad our first half was against Stelis. We can't have a repeat of that against Polokwane City because when you play teams like Polokwane City, they are kind of teams that score, sit back the whole game, and that's about it. So, having said that, what the midfield I'd go for is I'd go for Kele, I'd go for Marco, and then I'd go for I can't pick between Shabalala and Sereno. I think that's the most difficult part. I can't pick between Shabalala and Sereno. I think because of such the good game that Shabalala had yesterday, I'd maybe even attempt to play Shabalala and Sereno together. And play like as a 10, Sereno on the left, and let them swap at some point in the game. Sereno goes wide, Shabalala becomes the 10. A part of me wants to see that. But yeah, a lot of people don't like to see Mdu and Serino at the same time. But yeah, it's a difficult one. So I'd play Mdu or Serino at 10. Left will probably be Modi. Right will probably be Lilepo. Striker is Duba. In a different world, it will probably be Serino at 10, Mdu Shabalala, or Mdu Shabalala at 10, Serino on the left, Dubai striker, Lilepo on the right. That's how some other people will work it. With Velebayi now in the team, we must remember Velebayi has pretty much not had a preseason. So we won't see Velebayi for quite a while. I don't think we will see him anytime soon. Maybe the first time we'll start seeing Velebayi will be after the Sundowns game that's coming. So yeah, probably after the Sundowns game. So maybe game number 5. I think game number 5 is against Richards Bay, if I'm not mistaken. And that's where we'll probably start seeing about Velebayi. But yeah, that's the starting lineup. You guys tell me what you think. The person who I excluded from this team, but I have to still shout out is Unqobo. He's done proper work during the preseason. He's worked really hard. I like what he's done. I'm not benching him because he hasn't done well. I just feel like between him and Cele, they can't be playing together. I don't think that combination works. Cele and Unqobo, it just does not work. It does not gel. It does not click. Something is just definitely wrong with that combination. But other than that, we'll see what happens. Amakhosi for life.